I got my heater core boxes and everything, and my AC controls and ducts and stuff that I gotta put back in here. As you can see, all of this foam stuff, it's just falling apart. It's all old. So I just got this new stuff. It's a 3/4 inch wide by 7/16 inch thick. It's got this sticky backing. So just gonna take all this old stuff off and put the new stuff in, and then I'll put all these boxes together and get them in. And then I also have my firewall matting. It's all been dried and treated for mold because that stuff was getting like soaking wet. And here's a quick little tip. This stuff, if you kind of catch that edge of the sticky glue back, because it's just like tape, it'll all kind of start rolling on itself and it'll peel off clean. And this stuff's pretty old. This is like the original stuff. And then you kind of just see that. Even though it's that old, it still just comes off pretty clean, so that's good. Won't have to struggle with that too much. Here's another. This is where the blower motor is. Gonna take it off here the same way. This one's falling apart a little bit more, but it still rolls off. Just like that. And I'll clean these up. Oh, look at all that. That's awesome. 30 years worth of leaves and shit. Yeah, let me clean those up. All right, those are all cleaned up and washed. Just gonna set them aside to dry thoroughly. Still gotta fix this guy that I kind of crushed, but I just used my panel alignment tool and kind of work it back into place. That's just the brass or copper, whatever. It's soft. I can work it back into place. This has electronics here, and obviously the blower motor has some electronics here. So I didn't soak them. I just kind of like went over it with like a wet brush and then just rinsed them out a little bit. So, but I want to let those dry thoroughly. All right, let's get this stuff installed. Just got a razor blade here. That should be all I need. So this one's done. Got that there. These here. This one. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut this down the middle, and that should be enough for all of these openings. I could just go ahead and buy stuff that's half as wide, but you know, this is what I have. I have this here. It's fine if I just cut it down the middle with some scissors. Now it's half as wide, and it will still cover this entire lip. Yeah, put it like that. And basically this is how it goes together. This box goes directly under the dash. And then these are the heater core lines. They come out through the firewall, and this connects to your heater select on the firewall to either let hot coolant go in and out or block it off. That goes under the dash. That's the main box. It's got the selector and everything. This one connects from the main box here to the blower fan here. They just connect like that, and they have like one bolt each on each side. And then this one connects, this bolts up to the cowl, and then this is like the inlet from the cowl into the car. And then that's your blower fan underneath. And this is where your fan select. It's either cabin air recirculating, or when you select the fresh air, this flap opens down. There's a control. This flap opens down, and then it gets fresh air from the cowl area. All right, this is ready to go back into the car. All right. Okay, and here's my firewall map. So you can see here where it's stained, where all the water would collect. And then on the driver's side also, that's the bottom part, this is the top part, and that's the underside. So it basically goes like that on the firewall. This is the driver's side, that's the passenger side. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in there now that it's dry and stuff and doesn't smell anymore. It's been sitting. And you start lining it up into place to those holes, just a little at a time into the firewall. Then it gets these clips. They fold down, and then when you turn them, they snap on like that, and they kind of trap it inside. So what you do is you push this little clip through the hole. And then once it's through the other side, you just flip them down, they click down like that. And then you just press it into the hole. Give it some love taps, and that holds it into place. Okay, there's all hung back up. Got all my clips that I had in there before. One thing to note is that this thing does go behind the pedal assembly. So to properly remove it and install it, you would have to take off the pedal assembly, including the clutch assembly, putting the mat up, and then putting the pedal assembly in, because there's holes that go through it, and it actually sits behind the assembly, and the bolts that hold the assembly together hold the matting in place also. Mine was ripped away from that, so you can see where it like ends there, and it's supposed to be attached. That's the part of it that's still attached to the backside, and it was just cut there to end around on the other side to pull it away. But no harm done. It still holds in place because it's got the clips there, and then on the other side also. So see, there's a clip there, and there's a clip under there. And you can see why the mat has to go in first, because the box has to sit here, and the heater core lines go in through that hole, and then there's a bolt that goes through that. And see these heater core lines, they go in through that hole, that cable goes in through that hole, and then this bolt gets a nut from the other side, from the engine bay side. Okay, remember how this was crushed from when I removed it? That was my bad. It was crushed even more. I'm just taking my needle nose pliers and using that taper to kind of work it back into a round pipe. This is copper, so it's soft and pliable, and I'm just gonna get it round just like this one. It was completely crushed, and now it's like almost back there. So now I'm just gonna keep working it with both hands so I can get a good shape and put it back in. And that looks good enough to me. The hose should clamp down around that and seal up real good. It still has the lip at the end, so I don't foresee any leak issues, especially with new hoses. Okay, so the box is hung in place. This and this holds it in. Then you push up to get it tight against that cowl, because this is where your hot air for your windshield comes out for your defrost. Okay, and then I'll show you what it looks like on the firewall side. On the firewall side, see, there's those two lines, one there and one there, and then there's that cable that comes through for the valve. There is a gasket that goes between the heater box and the firewall, and that was already on there. I didn't take that off. Here's that nut that you got to put in from the firewall side. It's kind of a pain to get in. But once you get it started, with your fingers, then you can just come in with your ratchet. For stuff like this, I'm so glad I have my electric ratchet. I could just stick it in there, get on that nut. So let me find my nuts for that. I believe these are at, yeah. And then I'll just tighten those down. All right, these are a 10. All right, that box is in. All right, now I squeeze my dashboard back in. I'm just gonna tighten the fasteners on here on the side. That one in there. Basically the reverse of what I did when I took it off. You know, it's kind of hard to get a tripod in here, especially when you're trying to get this dashboard in, so I didn't record that part, but the dashboard's back in place. You just shimmy it over the steering column. You know, you unbolt the steering column from the firewall so that it drops as low as it can, and then you can get that hump over the steering wheel and like get into place. So that's pretty self-explanatory. All right, I'm gonna continue to tighten these bolts, and then I'll get back with the rest of the heater boxes up in here. All right, so the heater blower is in, and this thing is held on by two nuts, and one nut and two bolts. So you got one there, that gold one. You got one bolt right there, and then one on the underside, that one right there. It's a little cumbersome to get it with the dash already in place, but I mean, it's possible. This bolt in here, I just went in there with my little stubby wrench, or with my just small wrench, and then the other ones I just use my electric ratchet because you know, all I gotta do is press a button. And here it is. That's that connector piece to the ductwork. The wide side goes into the heater box, and the more smaller side goes into the blower motor. And something I want to mention about this piece, and just Hondas of this vintage in general, is like the engineering that went into these things. Like, take this piece for example. Like, it's got these little hooks here and here on each corner. They correspond to that tab and then this tab on the blower motor and heater box. And the duct has these lips. This is an outer facing lip, and this is an inner facing lip. And the same thing on this side. Outer facing lip, inner facing lip. And they correspond to the heater box and blower motor. See, they're mirrored so that these things can just like slide into place without having to like have this blower motor loose, so that you can like snug it into place and stuff. They make it so that like the workers on the assembly lines can just like slide these things into place, and there's no guesswork. Then you put your screw there and your screw there, and the hooks down there already already grab onto the heater box and the blower motor from the other side. I mean, I love stuff like that where like people took the time to say, hey, how do we make this thing easy to service? Because you got to figure if you're going to change out a blower motor, this part just slips out easily, and then you can access your blower motor so easy from there too. All right, so that's in. Got one screw there, and then the little clips that just clip onto the corresponding sides. All right, now I can put up my wire harness where it belongs. But that's basically it. I wanted to show those heater boxes, see, because that's something that there's not many videos out there about. So if you were wondering how those things go together, now you know. If you have to replace a heater core or AC condenser or something like that, now you kind of have an idea of what you're in for. I'm gonna finish this up. I'm not gonna film any of the other stuff like putting the glove box in or the center console, because that's just putting it in and then a couple of screws. That's pretty self-explanatory and easy to do. But this part was like the difficult part, and now you know how everything goes back behind the dash. I hope this video helps you in some kind of way, and that's it for now. I think the next video is going to be prepping this thing to get my new carpet, because I bought the new carpet like 2 or 3 years ago, and that's actually what prompted me to fix the rust around the dashboard, because I wasn't gonna put in a new carpet and then just have water leak into the car and ruin it all over again. So I'm really stoked about that. I've had that carpet for a long time, and I started this whole can of worms a while back. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.